It is day 23, 1:42 a.m. in the Big Brother UK All-Stars house. And unfortunately, Courtney Act has just become the fourth person to be evicted from the house and the sixth male house guest to leave the house as well. So the curse is still, fully going on. All the guys have to beware because this week is a double eviction week and someone else will be going home tomorrow. But thankfully for tonight, Charley and New York have both survived the eviction. They both seem pretty proud of themselves. New York is having a little talk with Nikki outside while Charley goes in, changes, fixes her makeup, and then heads to the fire pit. I think tonight everyone's just going to try to relax and unwind a little bit. And of course, relaxing and unwinding for Charley is picking a fight with Pete and enjoying it. Tonight we had some of our closest results ever in the public vote, and I like to think that Craig and Makosi are still kind of talking over all the events that happened in the living room. Since Victor's eviction, Makosi hasn't really had anyone by her side, and Craig is kind of a lone wolf in this game as well, especially with all the boys going home, so maybe this could be a powerful duo. At 4:39 a.m., all of the house guests are still awake. It seems as though Gemma enjoys the smell of dirty dishes. She smells the dirty dish before washing it. Don't know who else does that. Meanwhile, Hellen and Davina have a little chat on the bench in the bathroom, while Isabelle and Charley head towards the mirrors and fix themselves, fix their makeup, primp themselves up. Why? Have no clue. It's 5 a.m. in the morning, but I guess when you're on camera 24/7, that's just something you gotta do. Emma and Brian have come into the bathroom and joined Davina and Hellen with their conversation. Of course, Emma has to glitch her way into the bench, but whatever. Also, the makeup that Charley put on herself is pretty horrible. I don't really know why she did that. Everyone else is kind of judging her as well. But they also cheer her on as she does workouts and also laugh at her. I don't know. You know how they act around Charley. She is the celebrity of the Big Brother house. Craig outside has put on a face mask and is trying to relax. Meanwhile, Isabelle, Nadia, Cameron, and now Rylan are hanging out by the fire. Rylan is actually staring at the emergency exit sign by the door out there. Again, I told you that was like one of the last emergency exit doors that were left, and they're soon going to be crowding around it. So Rylan is the first one. Maybe he's missing Courtney Act already and thinking about what it would be like to leave, and maybe he wants to leave. Or maybe he's thinking about how he could be next as all the guys are going home one by one. In the bathroom, it seems as though Emma has become stressed out over something and is not too happy about Brian and is probably going to start an argument soon from the looks of it. Meanwhile, we have another group forming outside, Makosi, and then probably her closest friend, New York, and then maybe even now her other closest friend, Craig. They were all kind of talking, getting to know each other, and I could see this group being something too, and maybe even including Nadia. I don't know. By 6:01 a.m., a lot of the house guests are really feeling it from not sleeping all night. That surprise eviction midweek has really got to them, and a lot of them have actually just started to fall asleep in the jacuzzi. That seems to be a really go-to spot, especially for the Ministry of Peace members. It's warm, it's comfortable, and that's usually where they all tend to go. Also, I don't really know why, but when the Sims are extra exhausted, they tend to nap before they actually go to sleep. I don't really know what that's about. So there's some house guests that head to the bedroom, but they just mainly go nap. I don't know. While Nadia is actually in the garden, she's one of the only other people awake, and is feeding the chickens, talking to them, making sure they're good and well. While this little group that we have forming, Makosi and Craig are out by the grill, and Makosi's actually making some beanie weenies, and Craig's kind of helping her, talking her through it. It seems as though Gemma is watching from afar as Nadia tries to tame and wrangle these chickens together. Once the beanie weenies are actually done, a lot of the house guests that either didn't fall asleep or were, in other rooms smell it and end up coming out there to join. And honestly, they must smell nice. It looks horrible. It's like a green color. They all ate it pretty quickly, and I mean, I guess they are pretty hungry, and with only two people on the Ministry of Plenty team, that being New York and Charley now, they don't really seem to be cooking in the kitchen or doing anything anymore. So I don't really know, but there will be people joining them on that ministry tomorrow, though. So it's going to be a while. It seems as though everyone's just going to have to rely on people grilling food outside as a majority of their meals. And I guess Makosi's not too good on the grill. I don't know. I think it looks horrendous. And I don't know if Craig was enjoying it too well or if he might have slipped up or what happened. But Makosi ends up getting actually really angry and starts arguing with Craig. Of course. I mean, I'm like, oh, maybe they're going to form a nice little relationship. Maybe they're going to be friends. And then, of course, Makosi has to just start an argument. Everyone's, of course, watching. Emma's here, shaking her head in agreement and shocked, but ends up sneaking off to go pee. Meanwhile, everyone during this whole argument, this whole scene, is now farting due to the beanie weenies, which just adds to the flavor of this argument. I mean, Craig is now firing back at her, and it's like, you guys were just talking all day, and I guess, I don't know, it's always hard. It's like, well, I guess that whole conversation wasn't going well. Maybe there was this underlying tension the whole time. I don't really know, but Charley is now the only one sleeping in the bedroom, avoiding everything for once. At 9:13 a.m., Big Brother sadly has to wake up a couple of our house guests, as it is now time for the Ministry of Truth to begin their shift in room 101. We see that Isabelle has to use the bathroom, but she was yanked out of the hot tub. Nadia and Davina, all of them are kind of sleeping, and Craig, of course, is just now finally escaping that argument. It was almost a reason for him to walk away from that. All of them are pretty exhausted and not ready to begin their shift. It's kind of like when you party all night and then you have to work really early the next day and you're just like not prepared, and that whole work day is horrible. They're feeling that right now in room 101. We see that Craig instantly goes to sleep while Isabelle runs to the bathroom. Nadia is actually on the computer doing work. Meanwhile, Davina's just farting, just tooting, girly things, queen business. Meanwhile, all the other house guests don't really have to worry about doing any duties. Like I said, Charley and New York have not really cared about cooking for everyone or cleaning or anything like that. So everyone else is kind of hanging out, and most of them are actually starting to go to sleep. We see that New York is complaining about being hungry, but again, girl, cook yourself something to eat. You're the only one that actually can do that in the kitchen. Meanwhile, we still have a ton of house guests still sleeping in the hot tub, even though they don't necessarily need to. Like, Hellen, at least, is a Ministry of Peace member, but Gemma is not. She's just doing it. But surprisingly, the few house guests that are awake seem to actually be doing some chores. We have Cameron walking around collecting some dishes to wash, and Pete ends up grilling up some actual edible food. At 12:22 p.m., Big Brother goes ahead and calls Cameron to the diary room. Cameron is actually second richest house guest, obviously next to Makosi, our big boss. So right now, Cameron has 20 big bucks. Yesterday, he only had 19, but thanks to Courtney's whopping one big buck, he now has an even 20. So now he is next in line to becoming big boss. So Big Brother is going to give him a secret mission where he will now be able to earn a few extra bucks. So his mission is to kiss as many house guests as he can in the next 6 hours. Every kiss that he gets, he will receive 10 big bucks. However, if after 6 hours he receives no kisses, he will lose 10 big bucks. So he might lose half of the money he has, or he could potentially double it, triple it, however many kisses he can get. So instantly he leaves the diary room and heads towards the garden. Unfortunately for him. He has woohooed with Isabelle, and that could be an easy kiss. However, Isabelle is in room 101 doing her shift with the Ministry of Truth. So instead, Cameron has headed out towards the garden to find one of the only boys that are left. Now, since hooking up with Isabelle, I have kind of fixed Cameron, Rylan, and Courtney's. I fixed all of their sexualities. So he does head towards the closest guy that he has that's awake, and that is Pete. Now, I didn't touch anyone else's sexuality, so everyone else could be bi, I guess. I mean, I didn't really think about doing that. I guess Pete is one of the realistic guys that you would choose if you were trying to convert any of them. So I guess I get that's why he picked him. Meanwhile, in room 101, all of them are together. However, Nadia has officially passed out and is sleeping on the ground. It looks as though the couch was taken by awake house guest. How rude. Like, if you're about to pass out and they're just not going to get up from the couch, that's pretty rude. Outside, Pete is doing a nice little arm movement where he brings it through his chest in order to grab the hot dog. But of course, Charley is picking a fight with him and actually even making him cry a little bit. Meanwhile, they're eating like the hot dogs he prepared for everyone. I've got to say, Pete and Charley have been arguing all day, and I bet he was pretty disappointed that Charley didn't end up going home. He's like, really? I'm stuck with you for another 2 days, at least. But who knows? Maybe she'll be safe. All of that we'll find out tomorrow. It is not due to a public vote. It's going to be pretty crazy, pretty twisted. And I bet Pete is just hoping that there's a chance Charley can leave because all they do is argue. We see that after a quick little bathroom break, Cameron is back in the garden trying to sway Pete his way in order to get a little kiss and get a little big bucks. Charley storms off from this, instantly annoyed. Meanwhile, New York is there, and I feel like if you want anyone there to be your wingman, it would be New York to encourage it and to kind of cheer you on. That's who I would want beside me if anyone in the house. Cameron ends up, sharing him little secrets, whispering in his ear. They're really bonding and really getting close, but also getting really touchy, whispering in someone's ear, touching their shoulder, hugging them, flirting them, complimenting them. And it seems to actually be working with Pete. Originally, I thought Pete and Nikki would kind of hook up, not just because they had a relationship in the real Big Brother, but because they seem to be going that way. But since Nikki hooked up with Craig, it doesn't really look that way. And Pete has kind of been really isolated. He's one of the only people that does chores. He's really responsible, and he's really keeps to himself and keeps himself busy. So, I don't know. I think he kind of deserves this a little bit. But as soon as Cameron actually tries to kiss him, he rejects it, which makes sense. He isn't necessarily gay. Meanwhile, the only other gay male that we have is Rylan, who walks up and seems actually a bit sad to see all of it. And you would have thought Cameron would go up to Rylan and try to make that kind of work out and make that happen. But instead, he just keeps being persistent with Pete instead. But again, it seems to still be working, even though Pete denied the kiss and didn't want to kiss him. He still is accepting all of his advances. He's letting him blow kisses at him. He's letting them hug and everything. Just no kissing. So it doesn't count. And if Cameron doesn't hurry up, he's going to lose 10 big bucks instead. At 2:13 p.m., Davina has swapped places with Nadia and is passed out on the ground now, while Nadia has actually been gifted the couch for once. She just had to hit her head on the ground first. And Cameron has kinda succeeded in his secret mission. All the flirting has caused him and Pete to head over to the showers to have a little alone time. And Rylan actually notices what's going on and doesn't only walk in, but goes ahead and joins. So I guess that counts as 2 kisses. At 4:08 p.m., Charley's rage has consumed her and she stomps on trash and lets out her best evil laugh. Meanwhile, Gemma pays no attention to her, has her cool sunglasses on, and is just enjoying the wieners that Pete has cooked up a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, in room 101, everyone seems to be kind of getting along, getting it together. All of them have taken a little bit of a nap, used the bathroom, passed out once or twice, and because of all that, they're feeling actually pretty good. So, Big Brother's going to go ahead and let them out. They're like, well, you've suffered in here. Your shift is done. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of the house now that you've already peed yourself, passed out a few times, been miserable. Go right ahead. So they all leave, and first thing that Davina does once she gets in the house is head straight to bed. Of course, though, she got to take a nap. She extra exhausted, and the only thing that can fill that exhaustion is a nap. Meanwhile, everything is still kind of getting freaky in the bathroom, but of course, Gemma has to go ahead and put an end to that. She kind of hears what's going on, walks right on in there, and the only one that actually stays naked is Pete. Everyone else kind of dresses up really quick. Who knows if this is actually going to develop into anything? No one has really paid them any attention apart from Gemma. A lot of other house guests are outside sleeping, of course, the hot tub. Gotta have someone sleeping in it at all times. And even Craig is outside sleeping in the living room. Everyone's got to sleep anywhere but the bed. If they do sleep in the bed, it's got to be a nap. Obviously. Sim logic. Gemma, of course, leaves that little shower room and instantly goes and gossips to Brian, telling him everything that she just saw. And, of course, Emma wakes up to hear the news. Everyone's ears perk up at something exciting happening. But the guys are acting like nothing happened at all. Cameron just goes outside, eats a hot dog, and complains about the trash. Meanwhile, Pete calls all of his chickens into the coop and settles them in for the night. At 8:53 p.m., Big Brother goes ahead and calls Cameron into the diary room to discuss his secret mission he had today. So he was supposed to kiss two Sims, and technically he did not kiss, but he did do a little bit more than kissing. He kissed other things. So because of that, and because it was with both Pete and Rylan, he will receive 20 additional big bucks, giving him now a total of 40. So he is living a rich life right up there next to Makosi. Everyone else is actually pretty low. And again, to see everyone's Big Buck inquiry, that is down below in the description, as well as my Twitter handle and all that kind of stuff for all the latest updates. And again, this is a double eviction week. So just because someone went home yesterday, these house guests are not safe. They're all going to head to bed now, but in the morning when they wake up, they have a rude awakening, as unfortunately for them and you guys, it is not up to the public who goes home. Instead, it's going to be totally twisted. Nominations are going to be turned on their head and are going to be more important than ever, as in one day, house guests are nominated and one of them will be sent packing. Of course, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff down below. And I love all you guys. I hope you guys are liking the series. Sorry for the later updates, but with all the crazy twists, it's been taking me a bit longer to upload. But I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.